I don't know if I want to call this guy a scumbag, because the scumbag is a badge of honor on the left. But your resident douchebag, it's not much better, right? James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. If you know anything about him, you understand exactly why I refer to him the way that I do. If you know anything about his responsibility in the downfall of Acorn, a community agency that was aimed, and this entire purpose was the registration of marginalized groups, James O'Keefe used his stunts and his theatrics to bring down an important organization using half-truths, distortions, and highly edited videos to accomplish it. This has finally caught up with him. And according to The Intercept's reporter Ryan Grimm, O'Keefe is being hit with a $1 million lawsuit because of the same type of shenanigans that he pulled on Acorn. According to a source from The Intercept, O'Keefe and his organization, Project Veritas, are going to be served with a $1 million lawsuit. And the lawsuit accuses him and his organization of breaking local and federal wiretap laws and running afoul, quote, and running afoul of other statutes. It also dubs him and his two colleagues as, quote, modern day Watergate burglars. Now, to give you a little bit of background into the incident for which he's being sued, a colleague of James O'Keefe, Allison Moss, she is a member of his team, Project Veritas. She posed as a candidate for an internship using a cover story and falsifying documents, and she wanted to become a part of the Democratic campaign consultants' Democracy Partners. Because of her cover story, because of her falsified documents, she got the partner, she got the internship, and while she was there, she recorded hours of video as well as captured images of documents. And then they used the highly edited videos as a means of attacking the organization. Now, two of the people who were in the videos who have not been charged with doing anything wrong, they subsequently left the organization on their own because they understood how the American news cycle works. And they understood the unique role that James O'Keefe plays in the downfall of many organizations. And so you have two people who essentially stepped down in order to protect their organization because of the theatrics and the con of James O'Keefe, his organization, Project Veritas, and his associate, Allison Moss. And so now they have been charged, or rather they're being sued for $1 million. James O'Keefe actually had a conversation with our friends over at The Intercept, and he told them, of course, this is the language that you're going to get from a guy like this. He said, "We will not be intimidated." I'm sorry, but $1 million will intimidate just about anybody. But he says, "We will not be intimidated. We will not be silenced. We will find out who's funding this lawsuit. We will never stop exposing the truth, and we will not back down." Now, in Washington, in the area in which he carried this out, it's actually legal for a person to record without the consent of someone else, of the other individual. And this is according to The Intercept. But the lawyers in the case say that O'Keefe and his colleague, they are not immune. They are not shielded by this law because of, quote, the civil conspiracy, fraud, and duplicity behind the project. This is James O'Keefe's, hopefully this will be James O'Keefe's reckoning, because this is what he does. And the problem with this is that you always have organizations like Breitbart.com and Fox News who are willing to jump on the bandwagon with whatever con James O'Keefe is running this week. And because these large platforms reach millions upon millions of people, even if it's not true, the momentum of a story that James O'Keefe concocts, irrelevant, truth is irrelevant. The momentum takes a life of its own, and he has been responsible for bringing down organizations that he essentially lied on with the use of highly edited videos. This is what happened to Acorn. He did not bring down Democracy Partners, but he did cause several people to lose their jobs or to voluntarily step down. And the narrative behind the organization is now in the circles that are fueled and populated by Breitbarters and Fox News viewers. The conversation around James O'Keefe and Democracy Partners is, if they didn't do anything wrong, why did they step down? Or they had to have done something wrong, so they're clearly guilty because 2 people lost their jobs. And in reality, these people fell on their swords in order to protect the organization from the theatrics and the how did the Intercept describe it? The fraud and duplicity behind Project Veritas. His narratives have seeped so deeply into the conservative community, and he's actually successful in that regard, right? He's been successful in making a brand, even though what he actually does is completely fraudulent and completely a lie. But that does not stop him from gaining the reputation in the conservative community, because now people regurgitate the same talking points that are created off of his con games. Right? People are reporting, are regurgitating the idea that millions of people were bused from Providence, Rhode Island, up to Massachusetts and back again, or by church vans. And this is because on election day, you had James O'Keefe driving around following a church van. And because he's simply following a church van, they extrapolate from that and say there were hundreds of buses that did this. It does not matter. And this is why I think the lawsuit is important, because unless we have some accountability for these unscrupulous characters, they will continue. And there will always be organizations like Fox News and like Breitbart.com that will give them airtime, that will give them clicks and drive people to their stories, as fraudulent and erroneous as they are. Unless people are held accountable, this will continue, because there's going to always be a structure in place to capitalize on con men just like James O'Keefe.